Okay. So here's Rocky. Here's the art class for today. This is today's little art lesson. It's something that I think you in particular would enjoy, and I think that many folks would enjoy and benefit from this little exercise. Here's what you do. The very first thing is you take you find a tree somewhere nearby, a tree. Hopefully it's by itself, kind of, or away from the other trees somewhat. Just a tree all by itself. And it has to be casting a shadow at the time that you regard the tree. Now, the shadow is cast from the dark side of the tree. So the other part of the tree will be lighter. Then consider the source of the light. Where is that light source? Is it the sun? Okay. Then the sun would be opposite the shadow. If you followed the shadow in a straight line through the tree, you'd be looking at a straight arrow of the sun. Do you follow that? I hope you do. So observe that tree in the early morning light and make a sketch of it with its shadow. Mainly what I'm interested in is the tree and its shadow. I don't care about the surrounding stuff. Just what is the shape of the shadow and what is the shape of the tree. And be accurate on the shapes of things. You don't have to obsess on the drawing skills, but do make it so that it's not just a little blah, 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 that's a tree and blah, blah, there's the shadow. Make the shape of the shadow on your paper. Then observe the same tree at about noon, about midday. And make a drawing from the same place, the same perspective, same spot you were in for the morning, you're now in for the evening. So from that same spot, do a drawing or a painting of the tree and its shadow at noon. Will there be a shadow at noon? Depends on what kind of tree you've chosen. Then you're going to go out in the afternoon and you're going to observe the shadow, and holy gazanga, lo plus behold, it's the other way. It's the opposite direction now. Well, that must mean that the sun is across the sky. Now it's over there. What happened? Maybe for the first time you realize that the sun has something to do with the shadows you're seeing. And that there's a relationship between the sun's position and the position of the shadows and the length of the shadows. This will suddenly occur to you. So you're going to paint your third painting or draw your third drawing, which is of that same tree from the same perspective, but this time with an afternoon shadow. When you've done all that, compose one single painting. Now, not a drawing, that has to be a painting. One single painting, about whatever size you like, 16 by 20 inches is a good size for this. 8 by 10 is about the smallest I would try. And I don't think I'd like to try. That's too small for this job. So what you're going to do is you're going to transfer all of the tree plus all three of its shadows early morning, midday, afternoon. 3 shadows are going to go into that picture to make a triple shadowed tree. How is that done? You're the artist. I have no idea how it's done. I know how I would do it, but I wouldn't recommend my way for you. So then when you've done that, take something that has some character to it. Oh, it could be a gnarly cucumber. It could be some sort of melon or something like that. Something like a squash or a melon or something that's kind of lumpy. Calabash, something like that. A gourd would work well. A dry but gnarly gourd. And you put it in front of you in a dark room. Light a candle first. Put the candle to the left of the item and put the item right on a plane with the candle so they're kind of equal like this. And then step back and do a little sketch of the shadow. Worry over the shadow. Get the shadow right. Don't worry about the rest of it. Get the shadow right. The right shape and the right density of the shadow. You'll notice something now that you might not have noticed outdoors under bright sunlight. Now you'll notice in candlelight, which is that there's a kind of half shadow. There's a deep shadow and a half shadow. And sometimes the half shadow is in the deepest part of the deep shadow, too. There's a light part of the deep shadow. Deep in the deep shadow. Why? Everything is reflecting everything else. Everything in the room is reflecting the light that's in the room, being shed by that candle. The candle is emitting light. That light is radiated. All the other light you see in the room is reflected. Now, you're watching energy go out. That's energy bouncing from the candle, just in abundance, just blasting out from the candle. So now, you can see what's called the penumbra, the half shadow. You want to find out about that, what that's about, kind of get a deep understanding of it. Read Jack of Shadows. Was Zelazny? I think it is. Yeah. Roger Zelazny, Jack of Shadows, hard to find book. Go find. Read it, you'll like it, and it will give you some idea what penumbra means. Anyway, so in all of this, the shadow is subtle. You want to just put it in blah, 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 like that and be done with it, right? But I want you to obsess over it. So don't just blah, 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 and then fix that. That's a stupid way to approach it. Take your time and get the shape of the shadow. And keep in mind that your candle will be going down, down, down. So there's a time limit. You cannot have more than 1 inch of candle difference. That's as long as you're allowed to take to develop out one drawing. 1 inch of candle. Now move your candle to the right of the object, or move the object to the left of the candle, however you've placed it, so that there's enough room, nothing catches fire. And now you're going to sketch the same thing. It's best if you leave the object in place and move the candle, or move the object exactly, place it exactly as it was. Don't change its, don't rotate it in any way. Now, with the light coming from the right, make a sketch of the shadow developments to the left. And of course, on the object there will be shadow, but the shadow will also be cast to the left. See? Now for the third drawing, you're going to put the candle behind the object and slightly to the left or slightly to the right, enough that it illuminates a little bit of the front. Now draw that shadow. Again, you're going to draw, or paint rather. Sorry, that's not a drawing. This is a painting. You're going to paint the object, and I don't care how crude it is, just get the basics down, get the basic shape down right, and then put all three shadows in to that painting. All three. So it's a triple shadowed piece. Not on the piece, just the things that it's casting, just the shadows it's casting. The piece itself might or might not be shadowed. It's up to you. You can make a composite shadow of various kinds. Okay? That's your art lesson for today. Now, movements time.